Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I had done made a decision. I told you about I was going to do a movie or a cartoon about my life. And as I told you, some stuff I had already did, like you all, might watch Disney, and some of the stuff like on Pixar. And I told you, about all the cartoons and all the stuff I created. And I know this movie I'm going to do about my life. We're going to be 18 and older to watch it. Because there's going to be some cussing and some fussing and some pleasant stuff going on too. And show you all why. I mean, I know people die, but this stuff should have never happened. It should have never happened. It was all about greed and sex. It's this, remember that movie, Sex, Lies, and Videotapes? I made that movie too. But anyway, but it was about greed and money and sex. And then people really know a goddamn thing about us for real. My shoulder's not like that. It's all right. Yeah. But anyway, that was about things that shouldn't have occurred. I told you all a little bit about me. I was my mother and father, first child and the only child. And I could tell y'all, this won't ruin a movie. This just some basic stuff. And my mom was pregnant with my brother when she died. And my brother died too. Yeah. She was basically almost full term. And it was a boy, like she told me. And I named him too. And buried him. Yeah. So in the movie, I'm going to tell you a lot. I just tell y'all bits and pieces of me. So that way, it's not going to take long to make the movie. It makes you understand a lot. I was a teenager when my mom and dad died. Got killed. My granny now. But I was short. I'm still not tall now. I'm not even 5'8". I just grew over the years. I'm talking about, I didn't start getting a little height on me till I was like about 20. Yeah, just bit by bit. God to give me another foot here. I mean, not a foot, but, another half an inch or an inch. Then my final call was, hey, you ain't going to make it to 5'8". And a lot of people that used to be around really didn't know how old I was. They really didn't know. They thinking I possibly was in elementary school or something of that nature. But no, I was very wise. and at my age, and actually was educated more beyond my age. Because I was getting taught at school. Went to a good school. Went to school, combination white, black, Hispanic kids. It was all type races at school, And I also got taught at home, When I be sick, I used to be laying down all the time like I be doing now. My mom was teaching me. She said, don't think you just finna be laying here and not know nothing. Yeah, I went to the school, the teacher said this and, But I'm going to teach you something else because you already know this. That's how my mom was. That's how I was with my kids. School break come and all that. Wintertime, bad snow weather. I let them sleep, but when they wake up, hey, we're going to do a little work, keep that mind still going. We're going to do it 2 or 3 hours, and y'all can go and play your video games or whatever. That's where I get it from. That's the way I was taught. Yeah. And what else I could tell you that's going out there? Even though I got kidnapped and all that stuff, I still went back to high school. I put myself in school. I was like, I'm seeing all these bills. I'm like, what school is that? Found out that school was elementary school. Then I found out the other school that was by my store down the street was a middle school, a junior high school. And I found like, where is this high school that y'all telling me about? So they told me one was Lincoln and one was Eastside. Lincoln was closer. Well, I want to go to a school way 30-some blocks away. So if my car don't work, I ain't got far to walk. That's how I was thinking. Very logical. you know. So I put myself in high school. I finished. Yeah. Yeah. That I did. I kept moving forward with my life throughout what I went through and the big losses that I took. The big losses that I took. I always have my sad moments. Who don't be sad? Who don't think? Something be wrong with you if you don't think. Or even have moments of you need comforting or just clarity. Sometimes you don't need nobody to talk to. You just need somebody to listen. The thing was, now the bottom line, I'm going to quit talking about after this because I'm jargon stuff together, is that how these people, when I was in East St. Louis, Illinois, knew about certain stuff. I can't bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up in the movie. And why when David Ruffin came, he was cussing certain people out. I'm like, Ruffin, how you know them? I'm talking, he calling them motherfucking women bitches. He doing this. He going off on these dudes. I'm like, do y'all know you know them? He said, baby, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They know I ain't playing with them. Yep. And they didn't know Smokey Robinson. They said Smokey Robinson was around, but not like that. Because I told Ruffin about this one lady. And I was wondering why was she acting the way she was acting. That same thing Ruffin said. Because when Ruffin came over, they were Ruffin them. He said, how you know them? I said, no, I had put an ad in the paper saying, I had these, my apartments for rent. He said, these are real nice. I said, aren't they? Yeah, they real nice. And everybody used to call it the hole because you got to drive down a slight hill to get up in there. In any direction you come in, you got to drive down. Okay. And they was new. They was just built. Nobody had ever lived there. And you go down the block a little bit, just across the street or whatever, you're at the projects. He was right by the projects. So I told Ruffin, I said, no, I ran an ad in the paper, saying I got 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms for rent. And I told how much it costs and what they would have to pay. He said, let me see what you put in the paper. He said, yeah, that's cool. He said, why are you charging so less? I said, because I don't realize in that community, that nobody had no jobs or nobody making no money. When I came around, people was making like $1.25 for minimum wage. Minimum wage was $1.25. I'm going way back. I'm old. I keep telling y'all I'm older than what y'all think. Minimum wage is $1.25. So I was charged brand new property I had. I charged $50. I was charging $50 a month for a 2-bedroom. But you have to pay your own electric, gas. And if you get a phone, that's on you. And water. Back then, you might got a water bill for $2 or $3 or something. Electric want that bad or whatever. Because everybody knew that. If you ain't in that room, cut that light off. Everybody done did that and do that. Gas don't be too bad. So doing all that cooking in the summer. I started having people move in. They was barbecuing all the time. But I had charged $50 for a 2-bedroom, $75 for 3, and $100, for a 4-bedroom. but you got to pay your bills. Yeah. And every December, nobody had to pay rent. If you had kids, you don't have to pay no rent in December. Mm-mm. Yep, you didn't have to pay no rent. And this just was a gift from me. I also put it on my taxes that I did not charge uh, my residents no rent in December. And so they can do stuff with their kids. At least they can try to get them something. That was me. But Ruffin was wondering and it was fishy because when her husband came up to the school I was teaching at Little Freeman Elementary School, this in the 70s, after so he graduated high school, and he asked me, he said, that's you. He said, I'm sorry, I know it's kind of you because you the shortest woman around her. Well, I'm laughing. And he was like, that's how much you charging for real? He said, Trisha, we can't move. Where I said, over there. I said, next door to me. I said, y'all come on next door to me. Y'all got, and they had their sons or whatever. And, no, she was like, no, that's okay. That's okay. She was like, I don't think we need to be by her. You know how her family was and stuff. What you mean how my family was? Y'all, she said, y'all some church people. I'm like, damn, she must be kicking it. You're not kicking it. I'm like, you drink a lot or something? That's the only thing I knew about. She said, yeah, girl, I drink my Medachevys and this, and I say I be having my own little company. I said, well, yeah, keep your own little company in your house. And I said, when you drink, you causing problems or something? She said, no, I just be sitting outside drinking all the time, and that's what she was saying. But come to find out, she was like that. And she just started staying in the house drinking all the time. But there was a little more to that. I found out what Ruffin was talking about. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Well, let me go check on my dinner. I guess I can call that dinner. I ain't feel like cooking nothing too heavy. I can't eat nothing heavy, right? Make it something that's almost like some nachos or something. Something I ain't ate in a long time. Yeah. A concoction. It ain't using no tortilla chips and all that type of stuff. Instead of using tortilla chips, I'm using French fries. And I got the French fries in the oven. I need to go check on them. I'll talk to y'all later.